The conference room aboard the Horizon's Edge hummed with tension as Captain Jake Morrison studied the holographic display before him. The blue and green planet rotating in the projection looked peaceful enough, but it represented one of the galaxy's greatest mysteries. Earth, the home world of humanity. Silent for nearly 700 years, Dr. Lisa Grant stood beside him, her eyes fixed on the planet with an intensity that made Morrison uncomfortable. She had spent her entire career studying lost civilizations, but this was different. Humans had been part of the galactic community once, long ago. They had sent out ships, established colonies, and then simply vanished behind an impenetrable barrier that surrounded their entire solar system. The readings are confirmed, Captain, Commander Troy Bennett said from his station. His voice carried the weight of disbelief. The barrier is collapsing. After all these centuries, we can finally approach the Sol system. Morrison nodded slowly. The Galactic Council had debated the Earth question for generations. Some believed humanity had destroyed itself in some terrible war. Others thought they had transcended to another dimension or fled to distant galaxies. A few optimistic souls believed they were still there, waiting. Morrison had never been sure what he believed, but now he would find out. The ship moved forward cautiously. Behind them, a dozen observer vessels from various species followed at a safe distance. The Vrath had sent their largest science ship, its dark hull bristling with sensors. The crystalline Kylene had dispatched a diplomatic craft that glowed with soft blue light. Even the normally isolationist Torvin had sent representatives, their amphibious forms visible through the transparent sections of their water-filled vessel. "We are approaching the former barrier location," Bennett announced. "All systems are functioning normally. No interference detected." Lisa moved closer to the window, pressing her hand against the transparent aluminum. "Do you think they're still alive? The humans?" Morrison considered the question carefully. "If they are, they chose to hide for a reason. We should be prepared for anything." The solar system opened before them like a book that had been sealed for centuries. The outer planets appeared normal enough. Gas giants rotating slowly in the void, their moons following predictable orbits, but as they moved deeper into the system, strange readings began to appear on their sensors. "Captain, I am detecting artificial structures," Bennett said, his voice rising with excitement. "Thousands of them. Orbital platforms around Jupiter and Saturn. Energy signatures that do not match any known technology." Lisa rushed to his station, her fingers dancing across the controls. "These readings are incredible. The power output from those platforms alone exceeds anything the Vrath Empire could produce. And look at this. There are structures in the asteroid belt. They have been mining and building." Morrison felt a chill run down his spine. "How many structures are we detecting?" Bennett worked his console furiously. "Preliminary scans show over 10,000 distinct artificial objects throughout the system. Some are massive. Captain, one of the structures near Mars is larger than our entire home station." The communication system suddenly crackled to life. Every member of the bridge crew jumped at the unexpected sound. A voice spoke in perfect galactic standard, the trade language used throughout known space. "Unknown vessels, this is Earth Defense Control. You have entered sovereign human territory. State your purpose and intentions." Morrison straightened his uniform and activated the communication system. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Galactic Council ship Horizon's Edge. We come in peace, representing the United Species of the galaxy. We seek to establish contact with humanity after many years of silence." There was a pause. Morrison could feel his heart pounding. Beside him, Lisa held her breath. "Captain Morrison, your vessel and the observer fleet are being scanned. Please maintain your current position and bearing. A diplomatic ship will rendezvous with you within the hour. Welcome to the Sol system." The channel closed. The bridge erupted in excited chatter. Bennett was already working to analyze the scan that Earth Defense had mentioned, but his instruments showed nothing. Whatever technology the humans had used, it was completely invisible to their sensors. "Captain, sensors are detecting a ship approaching from Earth," Bennett reported. "Speed is incredible. It will reach us in 40 minutes. Morrison watched the display as a single contact moved toward them at a velocity that should have been impossible. The ship was traveling faster than anything he had ever seen, and it was doing so within a solar system where such speeds were considered suicidal. When the human ship arrived, it did so with a grace that left the entire bridge crew speechless. The vessel was sleek and elegant, with smooth curves that seemed to flow like water. It was perhaps a quarter the size of the Horizon's Edge, but something about it radiated power and sophistication. The hull was a deep blue color that seemed to shimmer with internal light. "They are hailing us," Bennett said quietly. A new voice came through the speakers, warm and friendly. "Horizon's Edge. This is the Earth Vessel Messenger. I am Dr. Peter Russo, Earth's ambassador for first contact situations. We are pleased to finally meet our galactic neighbors. May we come aboard to discuss the future?" Morrison looked at Lisa, who nodded eagerly. "Ambassador Russo, we would be honored to host you. Docking Bay 2 is prepared for your arrival." "Thank you, Captain. However, we will not be docking. Please stand by for transport." Before Morrison could ask what that meant, a shimmering light appeared in the center of the bridge. The light coalesced into 3 human forms. Morrison stumbled backward in shock. Teleportation, instant matter transportation. It was considered theoretically possible, but far beyond any practical application. Yet here stood 3 humans, smiling politely as if they had simply walked through a door. Dr. Peter Russo stepped forward, extending his hand in the ancient human gesture of greeting. He was a middle-aged man with gray hair and kind eyes. Beside him stood a young woman in a pilot's uniform and a tall man who carried himself with military bearing. "Captain Morrison." "Dr. Grant, Commander Bennett," Russo said, somehow knowing all their names. "It is wonderful to finally meet you. Humanity has been waiting for this day. We have much to discuss about where we have been and what comes next. The galaxy has changed much in 700 years, but I suspect it is about to change even more." Lisa found her voice first. "Where have you been? Why did you isolate yourselves?" Russo's smile turned sad. "We watched the galaxy from afar, Doctor. We saw the endless wars, the cycles of violence, the empires rising and falling. We decided to try something different. We chose to step back, to focus on ourselves, to build something better, and now we are ready to return. But not as we were. Earth has changed, and we hope to help the galaxy change as well." Morrison looked at the 3 humans standing impossibly on his bridge, thought about the thousands of structures throughout the system, and realized that the galaxy was indeed about to change. The question was whether everyone else was ready for it. The observation deck of the Horizon's Edge had never felt so crowded. Representatives from a dozen species gathered around Dr. Peter Russo as he displayed holographic images of Earth's development over the past 7 centuries. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the back, watching the reactions of the various aliens as they processed what they were seeing. When humanity first encountered the galactic community in 2156, "We were excited," Russo explained, his voice calm and measured. "We thought we had found our place among the stars. But within 20 years, we witnessed 3 major wars, 2 genocides, and countless smaller conflicts. We saw empires built on slavery and exploitation. We saw species destroyed for resources or territory." A Wrath commander, his insectoid features hard to read, clicked his mandibles. "The galaxy has always known conflict. This is the nature of life. The strong survive." Russo nodded politely. "Perhaps. But humanity asked ourselves a question. What if we removed ourselves from that cycle? What if we focused on building something different? So in 2156, we activated the barrier and vanished from galactic affairs." Lisa Grant leaned forward, fascinated. "But how did you build such technology? The barrier was impenetrable for centuries. Our best scientists could not even scan through it." "We had help initially," Russo admitted. "There was a species called the predecessors who left technology throughout the galaxy long ago. We found one of their installations on Mars. It gave us the foundation, but everything we built after came from human innovation and dedication." Lieutenant Amy Price, the young pilot who had accompanied Russo, activated a new display. The hologram showed Earth's surface and gasps echoed through the chamber. The planet was covered in gleaming cities that rose like crystals toward the sky. Massive orbital platforms hung in perfect synchronization above the continents. The oceans were pristine blue, the forests deep green. It looked like a paradise. "We unified our world," Russo continued. "No more nations fighting over borders or resources. We solved our environmental problems, cured our diseases, and eliminated poverty. Every human child receives education and opportunity. We have no crime because we have no need for it. Everyone has enough." A Kylian representative, her crystalline form refracting rainbow light, spoke in a musical voice. "This sounds too perfect. Every civilization has problems. What is the truth you are hiding?" Russo smiled. "You are right to be skeptical. We do have challenges, Some humans struggled with the rapid changes. We have debates about our direction and purpose, but we solved our fundamental problems through technology and social evolution. Let me show you what we have achieved. The holograms changed again. This time they showed ships moving through space at impossible speeds. Energy beams being converted directly into matter. Medical devices that could heal injuries in minutes. Artificial intelligence systems that worked in perfect harmony with human minds. Commander Troy Bennett, who had been studying the technical specifications, spoke up in disbelief. These quantum slipstream drives should not be possible. The energy requirements alone would drain our entire power grid in seconds. We developed new power sources, Lieutenant Price said proudly. Zero-point energy taps that draw power from the quantum foam of space itself. Unlimited clean energy. We can power entire cities with devices the size of your fist. Morrison watched as the various species reacted. The Vrath looked concerned, perhaps even threatened. The Kylene seemed fascinated and hopeful. The Torvan observers were recording everything with their biomechanical implants. Each species was calculating how Earth's return would affect the balance of power. The Galactic Council must verify these claims, the Vrath commander declared. We request permission to send inspection teams to Earth. Russo's expression remained friendly but firm. We welcome diplomatic visits and cultural exchanges. However, Earth's sovereignty is absolute. We will not submit to inspections or authority from any external power. We are sharing this information as a courtesy and an invitation to friendship. You speak boldly for a species that has been absent for centuries, the Vrath said, his tone sharp. The Council maintains order in the galaxy. Every world must follow certain rules. Earth recognizes no authority but its own, Russo replied calmly. We are not seeking to join your political structures. We are simply announcing our return and offering to establish peaceful relations with any species that wishes it. The meeting dissolved into arguments as various representatives debated humanity's position. Morrison found himself standing next to Lisa, who was still staring at the images of Earth with wonder in her eyes. Do you believe them? Morrison asked quietly. I want to, Lisa said, but it seems impossible. How could one species achieve so much in such a short time? As if hearing her question, Russo approached them. Dr. Grant, Captain Morrison, we would like to extend an invitation. Earth would be honored to host you and a small delegation for a formal visit. You can see our world with your own eyes and judge for yourself. Lisa's eyes lit up. We would be honored. 3 days later, Morrison found himself standing in a transport vessel approaching Earth. The messenger had guided them through the system, past the massive orbital platforms and construction facilities. Now Earth filled their view, and even Morrison, who had seen hundreds of worlds, found himself awestruck. The transport descended through the atmosphere without the usual buffeting and heat. Whatever technology humans used for their shields, it made entry perfectly smooth. They landed in a city that Morrison could barely comprehend. Buildings rose thousands of feet into the air, their surfaces covered in gardens and solar collectors. Vehicles moved silently through the air in perfect coordination. Humans walked the streets below, and every face looked healthy and content. Admiral Karen Hughes met them at the landing pad. She was a striking woman in her 50s, wearing a simple but elegant uniform. Welcome to New Geneva, Captain Morrison. This city represents the culmination of our social and technological development. We hope you will feel at home here. Over the next several hours, Hughes and Russo guided them through the city. They visited hospitals where diseases were cured with genetic therapy in minutes. They saw factories where molecular assemblers created products from raw elements. They toured educational facilities where children learned through direct neural interfaces, gaining knowledge that would take decades using traditional methods. But what struck Morrison most was the people. Every human they met seemed genuinely happy. There was no poverty, no desperation, no fear in their eyes. They greeted the alien visitors with curiosity and warmth, not suspicion or hostility. How did you achieve this? Lisa asked Admiral Hughes as they stood in a garden overlooking the city. 700 years seems too short for such transformation. We focused, Hughes said simply. Every resource, every mind, every effort went toward improvement. We had no wars to fight, no external threats to distract us. We could dedicate ourselves entirely to becoming better. And we had motivation. We remembered the galaxy we left behind. We wanted to prove that a different way was possible. That evening, they gathered in a conference room with Earth's leadership. President Claire Anderson, a thoughtful woman in her 40s, addressed them directly. Captain Morrison, Dr. Grant, We want to be clear about our intentions. Earth is not returning to conquer or dominate. We have everything we need, but we also cannot remain isolated forever. The galaxy is our home too, and we want to be part of its future. A better future than its past. Morrison felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. His report to the Galactic Council would shape how the galaxy responded to Earth's return. He thought about the Wrath Commander's suspicion, about the power dynamics that would shift, about the wars that might be triggered by fear of human superiority. What if the Council refuses to accept your independence? He asked carefully. What if they demand you submit to their authority? President Anderson's expression remained calm, but Morrison saw steel in her eyes. Then they will learn that Earth is prepared to defend itself. We do not seek conflict, Captain, but we will not surrender our freedom. We have spent 700 years building something precious. We will protect it. As Morrison and his crew returned to the horizon's edge later that night, he could not shake the feeling that the galaxy stood at a crossroads. Earth had emerged from isolation as a power that could change everything. The only question was whether the rest of the galaxy would welcome that change or try to destroy it. The Galactic Council chamber on Station Prime was in chaos. Senator Victoria Lane of the Telmar Republic slammed her appendage against her podium, demanding order. Around her, representatives from 50 species shouted arguments and accusations. At the center of the storm sat the question of Earth. Captain Jake Morrison watched from the observation gallery as his official report was dissected and debated. Some species celebrated humanity's return and technological advancement. Others, particularly the Wrath Empire, viewed Earth as a threat to galactic stability. The humans refused to submit to Council inspection, the Wrath Supreme Commander declared, his voice amplified through the chamber. They claim sovereignty while possessing technology that could threaten every species here. This cannot be tolerated. A Kylene diplomat rose, her crystalline form catching the light. Perhaps we should respect their wishes. Humanity has harmed no one. They simply wish to exist in peace. Peace built on overwhelming power is not peace, Senator Lane interjected. It is intimidation. The Council must establish clear authority over all species, including Earth. Morrison felt sick. He had hoped his report would encourage diplomacy, but instead it had sparked fear. He caught sight of Lisa Grant beside him, her face pale with worry. They are going to push Earth into a corner, she whispered, and I do not think humanity will back down. 3 days later, Morrison watched from the horizon's edge as a Wrath battle fleet entered the Sol system. 20 massive warships, each carrying enough firepower to level a planet. The fleet was led by the Imperator's Fist, the Wrath Empire's most feared dreadnought. The message was clear: submit or face consequences. General Marcus Cole appeared on Earth's communication channels immediately. He was a broad-shouldered man with gray hair and eyes that had seen combat. His uniform bore no decorations, no signs of rank beyond a simple Earth defense insignia. Wrath Fleet, this is General Cole of Earth Defense. You have entered our territory with weapons armed and hostile intent. You have one opportunity to withdraw peacefully. The Wrath Commander's response was predictable. Earth will open its facilities for inspection and pledge allegiance to Council authority. Failure to comply will result in the seizure of your orbital platforms and military assets. Cole's expression did not change. You have made your choice. Earth Defense will now demonstrate why we do not fear your threats. Morrison expected to see Earth's massive fleet deploy. He had seen the thousands of ships during his visit, sleek vessels armed with advanced weapons. But nothing appeared. The Wrath fleet moved deeper into the system, approaching Mars orbit. What are they doing? Commander Troy Bennett asked nervously. The Wrath are moving into attack formation. Then Morrison saw it. A single structure, one of the orbital platforms they had detected near Mars, began to glow with soft blue light. The platform was enormous, perhaps 10 miles across, but it had seemed dormant during their previous scans. Energy spike detected, Bennett reported. Power readings are going off our scale. Captain, whatever that platform is doing, it is using more energy than our entire homeworld generates in a year. The platform released a pulse of energy that washed over the Wrath fleet like a wave. Every ship simply stopped. Their engines went dark. Their weapons powered down. Even their life support seemed to dim, though Morrison's sensors showed it was still functioning at minimal levels. The Wrath commander's panicked voice filled every communication channel. What have you done? Our systems are not responding. This is an act of war, Cole's calm voice answered. Your crews are safe. Life support is maintained, but your military systems have been disabled. You are drifting but in no danger. Earth defense ships will now tow your fleet to the edge of our territory, where your systems will be restored. Consider this a lesson in the cost of aggression. Morrison watched in awe as sleek Earth vessels appeared, using tractor beams to gently move the disabled Vrath warships. The entire operation was conducted with precision and care. Not a single shot had been fired. Not one life had been lost. Yet the most powerful military fleet in the galaxy had been rendered helpless in seconds. How is this possible? Bennett breathed. The Vrath fleet is considered unstoppable. Lisa was studying her instruments carefully. That platform released some kind of quantum disruption field. It interfaced directly with the Vrath ship's computer systems and shut them down at a fundamental level. The technology is beyond anything I have ever seen. News of the incident spread across the galaxy within hours. The Vrath Empire's military supremacy had been shattered without a single casualty. Some species cheered, celebrating the humbling of an aggressive empire. Others grew even more afraid of what Earth might do with such power. Morrison returned to Prime Station to find the Council in emergency session. Senator Lane was furious, demanding immediate action against Earth, but her words rang hollow now. Everyone had seen what happened to the Vrath fleet. During a break in the proceedings, Morrison was approached by a young Kylene named Zekthora. She was a junior diplomat, her crystalline form still showing the blue hues of youth. "Captain Morrison, I need to speak with you privately," she said urgently. "There are things happening in the Council that you must know about." They moved to a secure room and Zekthora activated a privacy field. "There is a coalition forming among certain Council members. They are led by Senator Lane and supported by the Vrath military leadership. They believe Earth must be eliminated before humanity grows even stronger." Morrison felt cold dread in his chest. "Eliminated? You mean destroyed?" "Yes. They are assembling a secret fleet drawing ships from species that fear Earth's power. They have also acquired a weapon from ancient ruins, a planet killer that was built by the predecessors long ago. They plan to use it against Earth within weeks, Why are you telling me this?" Morrison asked carefully. Zekthora's crystalline features showed clear emotion despite her alien nature. "Because my people believe in peace, not genocide. The Kylene Collective has always opposed the Council's more aggressive policies. If Earth is destroyed, it will not bring safety. It will only prove that the galaxy has learned nothing from centuries of violence." Morrison immediately contacted Earth through secure channels. Dr. Peter Russo appeared on his screen, listening carefully as Morrison explained the threat. "We are aware of the fleet being assembled," Russo said calmly. "Our intelligence networks have been monitoring Council activities since our return. We were hoping it would not come to this, but we are prepared." "You cannot fight the entire galaxy," Morrison said desperately. "Even with your technology, you are one system against thousands of worlds." Russo's expression was sad but determined. "We will not fight the entire galaxy, Captain. Only those who choose to attack us, and we will defend ourselves with every resource we possess. Humanity did not spend 7 centuries building a paradise just to surrender it to fear and aggression." Back on the horizon's edge, Morrison gathered his crew. Lisa and Bennett looked at him expectantly. "Earth is about to face an invasion," he told them. "A secret coalition within the Council plans to destroy them. We have a choice to make. We can remain neutral and watch, or we can try to stop this madness." Bennett spoke first. "The Council is our employer. Our duty is to them." "Our duty is to what is right," Lisa countered. "Earth has done nothing wrong except refuse to submit to authority. They do not deserve extinction for that." Morrison made his decision. "We warn Earth and provide them with any intelligence we can gather. Then we stand back and hope humanity's confidence is justified." 3 weeks later, Morrison watched his sensors as the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history entered the Sol system. Over 500 warships from a dozen species, led by Senator Lane's personal flagship. At the center of the fleet, wrapped in protective shields, was the planet killer weapon, a device that could shatter worlds. General Cole's voice came through on all channels. "Attacking fleet, you are making a terrible mistake. Earth does not want war, but we will defend ourselves. Turn back now while you still can." Senator Lane's response was filled with contempt. "You are one system against the might of the galaxy. Surrender now, and your people will be allowed to live as subjects under Council authority. Then Earth defense will now show you why we do not fear your numbers," Cole replied. The empty space around Earth suddenly filled with ships. Not hundreds, but thousands. Sleek vessels that had been hiding using stealth technology that made them invisible to every sensor in the galaxy. Massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed even the largest ships in the attacking fleet. Carrier groups deploying fighter craft that moved with impossible speed and precision. Morrison's instruments struggled to count them all. I am detecting over 3,000 Earth warships. Captain, some of these vessels are 10 times the size of anything in the attacking fleet. The battle that followed was not a battle at all. It was a demonstration. Earth's ships moved through the attacking fleet like sharks through fish. Their weapons disabled ship after ship without destroying them. Crews were left alive but helpless as their vessels were systematically neutralized. The planet-killer weapon tried to activate, but Earth ships surrounded it instantly. A beam of energy struck the ancient device and it simply fell apart into its component pieces, rendered permanently harmless. Agent Kyle Barnes moved through the ruins of Orbital Station 7 with practiced efficiency. The explosion had ripped through 3 levels of the research facility, killing 217 people. Human lives lost because someone wanted to make a point. He knelt beside a piece of debris, examining the scorching pattern. His neural implants analyzed the damage and fed him data directly into his visual cortex. The explosive had been sophisticated, designed to maximize casualties while leaving minimal forensic evidence, but whoever planted it had made mistakes. They always did. What do you see? Commander Nina Ross asked, stepping carefully over twisted metal. She had arrived from the horizon's edge an hour ago, having requested temporary assignment to help investigate the attacks. Captain Jake Morrison had approved immediately, wanting someone he trusted on Earth during this crisis. Military-grade plasma charges, Barnes said quietly, modified to leave chemical signatures that match human resistance group profiles. Someone wants this to look like internal terrorism. Nina frowned. But you don't think it is? I know it is not. This is the 4th attack in 2 weeks. Each one perfectly designed to look like radical human factions opposing Earth's reemergence. But these groups do not exist. They are fabrications. Barnes stood and activated a holographic display from his wrist unit. Images of the attack sites appeared in the air, along with data streams showing communication intercepts and financial transactions. Someone outside Earth is funding these attacks, he continued. The money has been routed through dozens of shell corporations, but we traced it back to accounts controlled by council members. The same coalition that tried to invade us. Nina looked shocked. They lost hundreds of ships and you humiliated them. Why would they risk attacking again? Because they are desperate, Barnes replied. Earth's demonstration of power terrified them. Now they are trying a different approach. If they can destabilize our society from within, they might weaken us enough to try again, or at least discredit us in the eyes of other species. Dr. Helen Foster appeared from a side corridor, her face streaked with dust and grief. She had been the station's lead scientist working on quantum communication networks. Now she was one of the survivors trying to piece together what happened. Agent Barnes, I found something in the backup servers, she said, her voice shaking. Communication logs that were deleted but not completely erased. Someone on this station was in contact with a Vrath intelligence operative 2 days before the explosion. Barnes took the data chip she offered and plugged it into his system. His eyes moved rapidly as he processed the information. This is good work, Doctor. This proves external involvement. But it also means we have infiltrators inside our facilities. The investigation led Barnes deep into Earth's intelligence networks. Over the next week, he uncovered a web of bribes, blackmail, and manipulation. A handful of humans had been compromised by foreign agents, convinced to help with sabotage in exchange for money or threats against their families. But they were just tools. The real planners were off-world. Meanwhile, Captain Morrison and Dr. Lisa Grant were conducting their own investigation from Prime Station. Lisa had become obsessed with tracking the council members involved in the conspiracy. Her research had uncovered disturbing patterns. Look at this, she told Morrison, displaying financial records on her data pad. Senator Lane has been receiving funding from 12 different species. All of them have aggressive military traditions, and there are communication logs showing she has been in contact with arms dealers and mercenary groups. Morrison studied the evidence carefully. If we expose this to the full council, it will cause a massive political crisis. Good, Lisa said firmly. The council needs a crisis. This organization has become corrupt and dangerous. Maybe exposing its worst elements will force reform. But before they could act, news arrived that changed everything. Sensors had detected a massive energy signature moving through space toward the Sol system. Analysis showed it was the same type of signature as the ancient planet-killer weapon that had been disabled during the invasion attempt. "They have another one," Commander Troy Bennett said grimly, studying the tactical display. "And this one is already active and approaching Earth." Morrison contacted Earth Defense immediately. General Marcus Cole appeared on screen, his expression grave. "We are aware of the weapon," Cole said. "It will arrive in 72 hours. We are preparing our defenses, but Captain, this device is more powerful than the first. If it reaches Earth, it could destroy our entire planet in seconds. Can you stop it?" Morrison asked. "We believe so, but the weapon is heavily shielded and escorted by cloaked ships. It will be a difficult battle. And there is another concern. Our intelligence suggests this is a distraction. While we focus on the planet killer, another attack is being prepared against our outer colonies." Kyle Barnes had reached the same conclusion. His investigation had uncovered communications between Senator Lane and a network of mercenary fleets. While Earth defended against the planet killer, these forces would strike at human settlements in nearby systems, colonies with minimal defenses filled with civilians. "It is a strategy designed to force us to choose," Barnes explained to Admiral Karen Hughes. "Defend Earth and let the colonies die, or split our forces and risk both." Hughes considered the situation carefully. "Then we do neither. We destroy the planet killer and defend our colonies simultaneously. Earth's fleet is large enough for both operations. That will expose the full extent of your military capability," Barnes warned. "You have been hiding your true strength, showing only enough to deter attacks. If you reveal everything, the entire galaxy will know exactly how powerful you are." "The time for hiding is over," Hughes said firmly. "Earth will show the galaxy not just our strength, but our commitment to protecting innocent lives. All lives, not just human ones." The plan that emerged was ambitious and risky. Captain Drew Phillips would lead the main fleet against the planet-killer weapon. A smaller force under Captain Ben Wright would defend the colonies, and a third group, consisting of Earth's fastest ships, would strike directly at Senator Lane's headquarters on Prime Station, capturing the conspiracy leaders before they could escape. Morrison found himself assigned to the colony defense mission. Admiral Hughes had specifically requested his presence along with Lisa and several other aliens who had proven friendly to Earth. "Your presence will show that this is not just about humanity," Hughes explained. "We are defending the principle that aggressive powers cannot dictate to peaceful ones. That message is stronger if it comes from a mixed crew." 3 days later, Morrison stood on the bridge of the Earth vessel Defiant as it moved into position around the human colony of New Hope. The settlement was young, only 5 years old, with a population of 50,000. Mostly families, researchers, and people who wanted to help humanity spread peacefully across the stars. "Mercenary fleet detected," the tactical officer reported. 60 ships, mixed species. "They are moving to attack formation." Morrison watched the display as the enemy fleet approached. They outnumbered the Earth Defense Force 3-1, but he had seen what human technology could do. Captain Ben Wright stood calmly at the center of the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. "Open a channel to the mercenary fleet," a rough voice answered, belonging to a Thraxian mercenary commander. "Earthships, stand aside. Our business is with the colony. Leave now and you will not be harmed." "The colony is under Earth's protection," Wright replied. "You have one opportunity to withdraw. Otherwise we will defend it with all necessary force." The Thraxian laughed. "You have 12 ships. We have 60. You cannot win." "You have been misinformed about our capabilities," Wright said calmly. "But you will learn." The battle began with the mercenary fleet charging forward aggressively. Earth's ships moved to intercept, their weapon systems coming online with precision. Morrison watched in awe as the human vessels demonstrated tactics and technology far beyond anything he had imagined. Each Earth ship seemed to fight with the effectiveness of 10 regular vessels. Their shields absorbed damage that should have destroyed them. Their weapons struck with perfect accuracy, disabling enemy ships without killing crews, and their coordination was flawless, as if all 12 ships shared a single mind. Within 20 minutes, half the mercenary fleet was disabled. The remainder tried to flee, but Earth ships were faster. They ran down the escaping vessels and disabled them one by one. Meanwhile, Drew Phillips faced the planet-killer weapon near Earth. The battle was fiercer there, with cloaked enemy ships trying to protect the ancient device. But Earth sensors could detect the cloaking technology, and their ships moved through the enemy formation with devastating efficiency. The planet killer tried to activate, charging its world-shattering weapon. But Earth had learned from studying the first device. They knew its weaknesses. A coordinated strike from 6 Earth dreadnoughts hit the weapon simultaneously, overloading its power systems and causing it to collapse inward, destroying itself safely in deep space. The third operation, the strike on Prime Station, went perfectly. Earth's fastest ships appeared without warning, surrounded Senator Lane's private facility, and captured her along with 24 co-conspirators. President Claire Anderson stood at the podium in what was once the Galactic Council chamber on Prime Station. But this was no longer the old council. The room had been redesigned with input from 30 different species, each contributing their aesthetic and functional preferences. The result was a space that felt welcoming rather than intimidating, collaborative rather than hierarchical. Around her sat representatives from 147 species. Some had been part of the old council. Others were smaller civilizations that had been excluded from power before. And some, like the Kylene, had chosen to finally engage with galactic politics after centuries of isolation. 3 months ago, this galaxy stood on the edge of catastrophe, Anderson began, her voice calm but carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics. Fear and aggression nearly led to the destruction of Earth and countless other tragedies. But we stepped back from that edge, not because anyone was forced to, but because enough voices chose a different path. Captain Jake Morrison watched from the observation gallery, sitting beside Dr. Lisa Grant and Commander Troy Bennett. They had been invited as honored guests, having played crucial roles in preventing the war and exposing the conspiracy. Earth returns to the galactic community not as conquerors or isolationists, Anderson continued, but as partners. We offer our technology, our knowledge, and our support to any species that wishes to build a peaceful future. But this offer comes with clear principles. We will defend ourselves against aggression. We will protect the innocent. And we will never submit to any authority that demands obedience through force. In the front row, Ambassador Zekthora of the Kylene Collective rose to speak. Her crystalline form had matured over the past months, taking on the purple hues of adult responsibility. The Kylene have watched the galaxy's cycles of violence for millennia, she said, her musical voice filled with hope. We had given up believing that change was possible, but Earth has shown us that a civilization can be both strong and compassionate, powerful and peaceful. My people formally joined this new alliance and pledged to support its principles. Over the next hours, species after species announced their commitment to the Reformed Council. Not all agreed immediately. The Vrath Empire's new leadership, installed after their military command was purged for supporting the conspiracy, asked for time to consider. The Torvin requested clarification on several points, but the momentum was clear. The galaxy was choosing a new direction. In Earth's Lunar Command Center, Admiral Karen Hughes monitored the proceedings while coordinating defense operations. Despite the positive developments, she knew threats remained. Not every species welcomed Earth's emergence or the changes it brought. General Marcus Cole joined her at the tactical display. 3 Vrath patrol groups are moving near our outer colonies. They are keeping their distance but watching carefully. Let them watch, Hughes said. Transparency will serve us better than secrecy now. They need to see that we are not preparing to attack anyone. We are simply defending what is ours. Some of the military command wants to expand our fleet presence, Cole said carefully. They argue that we should secure strategic positions throughout the sector. Hughes shook her head firmly. That is Empire thinking. We will defend our territory and our allies, but we will not project power beyond what is necessary for defense. The moment we start claiming territory, we become what we opposed. Back on Prime Station, the formal proceedings concluded with the signing of what would become known as the new Charter. It established principles of sovereignty, mutual defense, and peaceful cooperation. But it also included mechanisms for addressing disputes, protecting minority species, and preventing any single power from dominating others. Captain Drew Phillips of the Unity represented Earth at the signing ceremony. The massive vessel had become a symbol of Earth's military power, but Phillips had carefully cultivated an image of restraint and diplomacy. He signed the charter alongside representatives from 40 founding species, each one committing to the new vision. Morrison found himself approached by Dr. Peter Russo afterward. The ambassador looked tired but satisfied. "Captain Morrison, President Anderson has a personal request," Russo said. "She wants to know if you would be willing to serve as Earth's liaison to the Reformed Council. Your reputation as an honest broker, and your understanding of both human and alien perspectives make you ideal for the role." Morrison was surprised. "I am not human. Would not Earth prefer one of its own citizens?" "That is exactly why we want you," Russo said with a smile. "This new alliance cannot be about human dominance. It must be about cooperation between equals. Having you represent Earth's interests while maintaining your independence shows that we mean what we say about partnership." After discussing it with Lisa and Bennett, Morrison accepted. His first assignment was to help coordinate the technology sharing program that Earth had promised. In laboratories across human space, scientists began the careful process of sharing selected technologies with allied species. They started with medical advances. Devices that could cure diseases and heal injuries were distributed freely to any civilization that requested them. Earth imposed only one condition: the technology could not be weaponized or used to harm others. Dr. Helen Foster led the Quantum Communication Initiative. The technology would allow instant communication across vast distances, connecting the galaxy in ways never before possible. But Foster was careful to build safeguards into the system. "We are not just sharing technology," she explained to a group of alien scientists. "We are sharing responsibility. This communication network will work only if all participants agree to basic protocols. No species can use it for military coordination against others. No one can block access based on political disagreements. It is a tool for connection, not control." The medical technology made the biggest immediate impact. On worlds that had struggled with plague and disease for generations, human medical teams arrived with equipment that could save millions. They trained local doctors and scientists, showing them how to use and maintain the devices. Agent Kyle Barnes worked behind the scenes to ensure the transition remained peaceful. His intelligence network monitored for threats, but increasingly his work focused on preventing conflicts before they started. When tensions flared between species, he provided information that helped diplomatic solutions. "I used to hunt terrorists and saboteurs," he told Commander Nina Ross during one of their regular meetings. "Now I spend most of my time helping aliens understand each other. It is strange but satisfying work." Nina had accepted a permanent position with Earth's Diplomatic Security Service. She found that her experience with multiple species made her valuable in protecting dignitaries and facilitating meetings. "Do you think it will last?" she asked Barnes. "This peace feels fragile." "All peace is fragile," Barnes replied. "But this one has something the old order lacked. It is built on mutual benefit rather than domination. Every species that joins gains something real. Medical technology, communication systems, defense support. Earth is not demanding tribute or obedience. That makes a difference." 6 months after the charter signing, Captain Ben Wright led the first joint colonial expedition. Humans, Kylene, and 5 other species working together to establish a settlement on a previously unclaimed world. The colony would be independent, governed by representatives from all founding species. Morrison visited the colony site aboard Wright's ship. He watched as members of different species worked side by side, building structures that accommodated various environmental needs. Human engineers helped Kylene crystallographers design refractive power systems. Torvan architects worked with human urban planners to create water features that served both aesthetic and practical purposes. "This is what Earth wanted," Wright said, standing beside Morrison on the observation deck. "Not to rule, but to inspire. Every species here is contributing their unique strengths. Together they are creating something none could build alone." Lisa Grant had taken a position as head of the new Interspecies Cultural Institute, based on Earth. She spent her time documenting the various civilizations of the galaxy and facilitating exchange programs. Young humans lived with alien families to learn their ways, while alien students came to Earth to study human society. "We are building understanding," she told Morrison during one of his visits to Earth. "Every exchange, every shared meal, every friendship between species makes war a little less likely. It is slow work, but it is the most important work." But not everyone embraced the changes. On the fringes of galactic civilization, some species clung to old ways. pirates, and raiders still attacked shipping lanes. A few militant groups rejected the new charter and called for a return to traditional power structures. Admiral Hughes addressed these threats methodically. Earth's fleet maintained patrols and responded to distress calls, but they also trained local defense forces. Rather than creating dependency, they helped species defend themselves. When a pirate fleet attacked a Kylene trading convoy, Earth ships arrived within minutes. But instead of simply destroying the pirates, they disabled the ships and captured the crews. The pirates were turned over to a joint tribunal representing multiple species, where they faced justice under the new legal framework.